Hey guys, Michael from Copper vs Glass, and in today's video we are checking out a new case for the iPhone 15 Pro from Spigen. Now you probably know them for their ultra hybrid, tough armor, ultra slim, but today we've got a brand new style, and that is the style armor. A huge thank you to Spigen for sending this over for the purpose of review. Of course it will be linked in that description down below, so let's take a look. So here we have the new style armor for the iPhone 15 Pro. Now of course, like I mentioned, it's going to be linked in the description down below, but it comes in at around $23 or £23 here in the UK. Now as you can see here, I do have in the Alpine Gold color, however it is available in 4 different colorways, hopefully to match your iPhone 15 Pro of choice. Now in typical Spigen fashion, the unboxing experience isn't all that much, but that in my opinion is what allows them to keep the price of their cases so low. Of course, once you get into the actual box itself, the only thing that you are going to be finding is the actual case itself. No sort of screen protector, no sort of additional information, just the case, a quick installation guide, and that's about it. Now I say installation guide because this case actually does come in 2 separate parts. However, in my opinion, there's absolutely no need for this, so in my opinion, you don't necessarily need this instruction guide because I don't think you're going to be taking apart the case anytime soon. Now what I mean by that is you've got this rubber section on the bottom here with the Spigen logo on there, which is actually separate to this plastic section up the top here. Now again, not too sure why. I'm a fan of the 2-tone color or 3-tone if you take into account the button side of things, but I'm not sure why it comes in 2 separate parts. Now the main reason that I went for the Alpine Gold colour is because of this orange accent. On the Classic Silver, Midnight Indigo and the Rose Gold, which are the other colour options that you've got, they're a little bit more bland, a little bit more traditional. Some people may or may not like that, but for me, with some other orange accessories I've got, I think it's going to look really nice. Taking a quick look around the inside of the case, you don't have any sort of soft microfiber lining, but again you can see here the Spigen branding, the MagSafe side of things, and of course that hinge for that 2-part section. Now like I mentioned, I haven't actually taken this apart whatsoever yet, but this bottom rubber section can actually pop off. You can then put your phone in and then put the other section back on if you want to, but again taking the phone in and out without having to remove this bottom section whatsoever is no problem at all. And again, taking into account the price of $23, I think this is probably one of the best value cases out there on the market at the moment. So I've got my iPhone 15 Pro here, of course with an orange style wallpaper to match the case, and like I mentioned, it fits super easily. Now like most of, if not all of Spigen cases, the fit of this case is absolutely perfect. There are no issues whatsoever around any part of the case, and in general I think Spigen has some of the best fitting cases on the market even in 2024. And I think the overall fit and finish go hand in hand with cases. Now again, the button side of things on the Spigen case, they are going to be completely covered, so the volume up, down, and also your action button, and of course on the power button, they're going to have these little air slits around the side, so it's not one uniform design, but it doesn't affect the overall tactility and the clickiness of the buttons themselves. Now are they the most clicky buttons out there that I've ever tried? Not necessarily, but they feel pretty good overall. You have some style armor branding on the right hand side of the case here, along with on the very back here on this bottom section the original Spigen logo, so the branding isn't necessarily too in your face. Now the thing that I also like is the port selection down the bottom. You've got access here for your USB-C, speaker, microphone, and it's got individual cutouts. It doesn't look symmetrical, but it still does the job, and I've had no issue at all with any sort of USB-C cable that I've been using, even these slightly more thicker ones. Camera protection is also great. You've still got that orange accent colour matching the rest of the actual phone case. It's not necessarily the deepest camera housing around the back here, but I still think you're going to get a ton of protection. Now the good thing about it is because the case is slightly thicker, the cameras don't necessarily stick out as much as they normally do. The on the table balance isn't necessarily too bad. Now like I mentioned, it's not necessarily the most protective case out there, but I do think that in a drop your cameras are definitely going to be protected pretty much along with the rest of the device here as well. Now I can't speak for the darker colours, however with this lighter colour here, the fingerprint situation is minimal to none. Even on this more rubbery section down the bottom here, it's not necessarily the most fingerprint magnet out there, however because it is more of a glossy metallic plastic finish, if you did need to wipe them off, again I don't think you're going to have any issues at all. You've also then got that same orange accent that goes all around the front of the phone here as well with the lay on the table design, and it's not necessarily the deepest lay on the table, however if you are going to pair it with a screen protector for example, you are still going to get a sight lip on there, meaning you can place it face down, no issues at all. Also, the feel in the hand is great with this device. Like I mentioned, it is more of a slippery, more glossy metallic finish, but in general I think it feels really nice. Also with iOS you've got a ton of features right up to the edge of the screen here, and having that slightly lower front bezel means that they're not going to get in the way whatsoever. Now one thing that I've also just noticed is the overall colour scheme here with the black, this sort of goldy silvery colour, and this orange also goes really nicely with this watch band that I've got. Now I'll try and remember where I got it from and link it in the description down below. I've had a couple of people asking about it in previous videos, but it's just a very simple watch band, and I think it actually is a really nice combination with this particular case. Now no case is perfect, and the style armor unfortunately is no different here. So a couple of the downsides around the button side of things, where the plastic edge really isn't there, it's just the rubber side of things. You do get a little bit of give around the buttons on both the left and right hand side, and that's because, as you can see here, that's where that plastic section ends, and you've got a complete cutout here that completely goes around the edge. Now further down we've got that plastic covering, it's not an issue at all, and also even right down the bottom, because it does have this plastic that goes right over all of your ports, there's no movement down the bottom here whatsoever, so something to keep in mind, but again not necessarily the end of the world. Now with all Spigen cases, or at least the newer ones, you do of course have MagSafe or their MagFit technology built directly into the case, and again unfortunately that's a little bit of a downside when it comes to this particular Spigen case. Now don't get me wrong, MagSafe isn't the be all and end all, but I do think that if a case is being advertised with MagSafe or MagFit, it should do at least a good job. So what I've got here is my traditional official Apple leather wallet. I'm just going to pop on the back here, and it goes on completely fine, but once you actually start to move it around and actually kind of move it, or at least try to move it, take it in and out of a pocket and things like that, it does move, and it doesn't necessarily hold at the best, maybe compared to some other options that I've tried out there. Now I don't know whether that's because the downward alignment magnet just isn't necessarily there on this case. Obviously the inside design just has a circle for the magnet side of things. It doesn't also have that downward alignment magnet, which is why in my opinion stuff does slide off pretty easily when you're moving it from left to right. Obviously moving it up and down there's no issue at all, but that left to right movement, if it doesn't have that alignment magnet, is probably why it's going to be moving so easily. So again, shaking it, no issues at all, and again you do have to slightly align it yourself when actually putting it onto the device itself. But as you can see here, moving it up and down, no issue at all, not going anywhere, but the smallest left to right movement will take any MagSafe accessory right off of your device. Now don't get me wrong, it's not the end of the world. For example with a car mount, there's a lot of downward force on there, so it's not necessarily going to fly off while it's in your car. If you've got any battery packs on there, they do seem pretty secure, but just keep in mind that the MagSafe side of things isn't the strongest on the market. But in my opinion, if you're comparing this case to something that is maybe $30, $40 or even $50, I don't necessarily think that you can go wrong with the style armor. Yes, it's not the most perfect case out there, but if you want to pick up a couple in 2 different colorways, then you've got the option to do so, and of course it's then not going to break the bank at all. But that's going to do it guys on this video of the style armor case for the iPhone 15 Pro from Spigen. Now like I mentioned, a massive thank you to Spigen for sending this over for the purpose of review. Of course it will be linked in that description down below. Also while you're down there, if you did enjoy this video, be sure to give it a like. If you've got any questions or comments about this case or any other recommendations you've got, let me know in the comment section down below. If you're not already subscribed, now's a great time to do so. And of course once you've hit that subscribe button, don't forget to turn on your notifications so you're notified anytime I post a video here on the channel. I'm Michael from Copper vs Glass. Thanks very much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video.